On this video, I'm going to show you how to replace Velcro. You will need a sewing machine and some basic sewing skills. This time I'm going to show you how to replace broken Velcro in some snow pants. As you can see, the Velcro is really worn out and like not even catchy anymore. And it's starting to fray, so the stitching actually came undone. So I might actually be able to rip this out, but if it's stitched in really good still, oops, hold on, let me get some more light. You might have to use these little things. This is a little seam ripper. So you basically just grab the edges of the threads you want to break and just carefully grab just the threads and not the fabric. The purpose of this little tool is so that you don't tear the fabric, and which you could do sometimes if you're ripping. In this case, it's not going to matter because it's so old and loose. Actually, right around the snap, it looks like I need to trim it with the scissors. Where'd it go? Okay, get this taken off the other side. I feel like I should have the camera on a different angle. Okay, that's a better angle. Okay, so now you can see the stitching and where you want to try to push this little seam ripper along. You can either use the pointy tip to like pull the threads out, and then it's like super sharp down in that little crevice right there. Or you can use the little round ball end to carefully find the thread, because sometimes if your fabric is real kind of gauzy or woven, then you might accidentally stick the tip of your seam ripper into the fabric and cut it, which I have done, like kind of like this. So you don't want to do that. So this little ball thing helps if you're nervous about it. Okay, so that's how you use a seam ripper. And then if you get good at it, you can kind of just go right along like that. And then once I get this all off of here, got some brand new Velcro, not the sticky stuff, the soft stuff to put down. In this case, the only part I have to replace is the hooky and the hooky part of the Velcro. And then I always like to pull these threads out of here. So I'm going to do that. I'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. So this is the Velcro that I'm going to use to fix these snowmobile pants. And it's just regular old Velcro brand. It's not the generic, it's the actual brand. Anyway, it comes with two parts, the sticky hook part and then the soft, I don't know what you call it, the softer side, which is what we need. So, here is the soft side that needs to be restitched onto here. So as you can see, it looks a lot better than the old one. Let me find it. See the difference? One is just shredded. And I think what happened with this last Velcro was that it frayed on this side. So maybe it wasn't the Velcro brand and maybe it frayed. But I'm gonna make sure I stitch in a little bit kind of away from the edge, just so it gives it a chance some time before it frays away completely. And I have to do this again. Okay, so you want to lay your length of Velcro down along the snow pants or whatever it is you're putting your Velcro on. And I'm going to trim off the excess on this end. So it goes right up to here. And I'm going to put a little extra on the end just because I don't want to run out. I'd rather have to trim it later than be short. And then I don't use pins very much, but it's really a good idea to use pins. And if you're not used to sewing very often, you might want to use pins just to make sure everything stays in place and you don't get too angry at the process. I'm not going to put a pin right at the end where I'm going to start. I'm going to pin it down farther. That way I have the ability to sew over that spot and then take the pin off versus putting the pin here and then I have to try to stitch over it, and I've broken too many needles trying to sew over pins, which is probably why I don't use them very much. Just hold stuff real careful. But yeah, you can kind of pin it every 6 inches if you want. Just make sure you're pulling the fabric underneath and the Velcro at the same, kind of the same amount, so that you don't have a big lump like this. Kind of make sure you pull them both taut. And then just line it up over top of the old Velcro line. And it kind of covers up that seam too that's underneath. And when this was manufactured, it probably didn't have stitching that went all the way through to the liner. But we don't care. This is an old pair of snow pants, and we just are trying to save a few bucks by not having to buy a new pair. So it's okay if there's stitching on the inside. We're not going to try and get any awards for this. We just want it to be functional. All right. My husband's downstairs. You can hear him talking very loudly. Alrighty, so got that pinned, and now we're ready to get our sewing machine ready with dark thread if you're fixing a dark pair of snow pants, and light if you're doing a light pair. So I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm trying to get my snow pants underneath the sewing machine without anything underneath, like the back side of these snow pants. The bibs have like suspenders, and I don't want those to get sewn, so be careful about how you set it up. And out here you can see that I kind of put this pin a little bit too close to the edge. It's interfering with the foot of my sewing machine, so I'm going to take that out. But I can just shove that back to where I want it. And then I think I'm going to turn this a little bit. Just kind of muscle it around so I can do a really strong end. As long as I make sure there's nothing underneath that's getting sewn down that I don't want sewn. All right. I think we're ready. Okay, here we go. And I usually, when I'm doing garments and mending, I keep it on a pretty big stitch, medium to big. And then I'm going to kind of go back and forth a couple of times over this end piece, because I think this will be getting a lot of wear and tear. And then I'm going to stop with the needle down so that I can pick up the lever and swivel. Again, I'm checking to make sure that these, this little thing, this was almost under there. Just make sure that's not being sewn on, because that'll really make you mad. Okay, then you just kind of smooth everything out so it's nice and flat. Alrighty. It's probably good that I pinned it, because it might be hard to keep it straight. Alright, let's make sure that foot's down and the lever's down in the back, and we're just going to stitch up the side of the soft part of the Velcro and stitch it down. So here we go. And I'm up to the snap as far as I can get before the presser foot hits it. So that's where I'm going to stop. The Velcro originally was put underneath the snap, and the snap was put on right through it. So there's no way I can fix that so that it does the same thing now, because I don't have a snap working. Alright, so let's turn snow pants around. And I'm just going to go back and forth again on this end. Make sure it's really good and snug. I used brown thread because, number one, I'm lazy and I didn't want to dig around to find my black. But also because you can see it a little bit better. So that's kind of what I did. I just went back and forth right across the Velcro like so. And then I'm going to clip this off. Like that. Alright, so we still have this other side to trim down. And rather than swinging the snow pants all the way around the other way, I'm just going to go back and do it the same way I just did it, since they're already in position. Carefully making sure there's nothing underneath. Get my thread ready. And then I'm going to go up the other side, the left side of the Velcro. On the back side, and you make sure, oh shoot, I did it. I accidentally stitched something down. Alright, well this is pretty regular for me, so I'll show you how I fix that. Okay, it's just that one little area. So what we're going to have to do, see how I accidentally grabbed the back of the bibs right here. I'm going to take my little seam ripper, if I could find it. I have a couple of them here. And I'm gonna rip that seam out. So it's not the end of the world. You don't have to get too mad. Thought I had it all clear under there, but evidently I didn't. And the bummer is I went back and forth on that quite a lot, so it's actually really sewn down pretty strong. So this is actually kind of good for me to show you how to do this. So I've had a lot of practice making this mistake. And I just kind of grab that little bit of the thread you see, which is another reason why it makes it easy when it's a different color than your fabric. And it's super tough because I went back and forth on it a bunch of times. So you just want to grab the edge of it and then wiggle. You can see that it's kind of coming loose. All right. So that's the part that I accidentally stitched. It's sort of like the liner on his back. It wasn't actually the crotch part. But anyway. All right, so this is the part that needs to get redone now. After a little bit of time, those threads will work their way out. So I'm going to go back and forth on that real quick. Like I said, if that happens, it's not the end of the world. You just need your little seam rippers and you can take care of it in no time. I think what I might do is do a zigzag stitch on there just to make sure it doesn't curl upward too. And then a little trick I learned when you're sewing with different colored thread than the garment, you can take that color of a Sharpie or other permanent marker, and then if you just color over it like this, and you can't really see it. Just a little trick. Works good. And you don't have to do it on the inside because nobody will see that except my husband, and he's not going to notice it. But here, I'll show you how that works. Just take the marker and voila, it disappears. And it looks like brand new Velcro on there. And since my husband is not a member of the Lily, Wisconsin Snowbirds, I'm going to take this patch off for him too while we're at it. So here I'm going to try and use my rotary cutters just to make this a little bit less difficult. So in which case you hold your rotary cutter like this and you just press. Oh, it's so much easier. And if you press into the stitching, then you know you're not going to cut the patch or the fabric. Although I have done that. Just got to be careful. Take your time. Ta-da! That was too much work. Okay, so now we got the patch off. So we've all done stitching our new Velcro stuff on there. The side didn't need to be restitched or put new on, so we left it. And now for the moment of truth. Zip it up and test it out. Mission accomplished. Ta-da! Thanks for watching. Come back next week. I'll have another video for you.